All right. Let's get this out of the way first. The thoughts, views, and opinions expressed on Tailboard Talks Firefighter podcast are solely those of the speakers, guests, and host, and do not in any way represent the thoughts or views or opinions of any other employer, partnership, or sponsor. The material and information in this podcast is for general information purposes only and should be used at the listener's discretion.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Tailboard Talks Firefighter podcast. My name is Chris, your host, and welcome to the show. Today, this week, the week kind of before Christmas, was supposed to be a replay week, but it also happens to be the 200th episode, and next week is Christmas Day, I think, next week would be Christmas Day. So I didn't want to have to do a live one on Christmas Day. So next week during Christmas Day and around it's going to be a replay episode. I'm sure we'll do another holiday one, maybe the holiday slide, talking about your plan going into the holidays and how much meals affect it and how much meals don't affect it, and then to plan to get out of the holidays or something similar. But today is something that I like to watch on YouTube and I like to listen about on different shows. It's like an offshoot of the EDC thing, everyday carry thing. And I'm a little bit of a nerd when it comes to that stuff, but I'm a bit of a fireman because I'm too cheap to buy any of the nice stuff that those guys say you should carry. So today I'm giving you last minute budget gift ideas for firemen. And there's 3 basic categories that you cannot go wrong. These are perfect for new guys. These are perfect for officers. These are perfect for anybody buying another firefighter a gift. These 3 things are going to set you up to win. Now, of course, if you want to get the best possible stuff for your first responder friend, you should be going to Rescue One CBD through the website link or through the show notes page and get a discount and get some CBD stuff. You should be going to Fourth Frontier, get an awesome heart rate monitoring strap that shows you lead 2 EKG. You should be going to Project Fire Buddies, making donations on someone's behalf or helping out the kids. If you want some freebies, you can go to the Fourth Shift Firefighter website and download. There's 4 free PDFs. There's a strength builder, the daily dose, the wellness ladder, and the 14-ish downloads on there. Those are free. You can have those free gift from me to you. Or if you really want to treat me, you can go onto the Buy Me a Coffee button and donate $3 increments to the show and to the Fourth Shift and to me and to my new friend Angie, who's going to be on a bunch of these shows I'm doing a new show with for Firefighter Nation. That's even a better gift if someone doesn't like me and doesn't like the show, and you can make a donation with their name on it, and I'll call them out, and they'll hate that, but it'll be your money, which is worth it, I think. Okay, so let's get down to these things. It's going to be a quick episode because there's nothing special in this. It's all special, okay? That's the problem. It's all special. 3 categories that you can always buy for firefighters. When you're short on time, short on money, always go towards utility. It's the best. It's the easiest. There's a couple different tools that we always use. The first one being, and I'll start with the least expensive one, is this thing, a 2-inch spring clamp. Now, if you're watching on YouTube, I'm going to hold all these things up. If you're listening on the audio podcast, I'll just describe everything. 2-inch spring clamp. Just by saying that, you should know what this is. Now, this isn't the one I carry at work. I carry 2 at work, and they're at work. This is just one I have that I actually used to carry, but I brought back to do some projects. $2. $2 for the spring clamp. Infinitely useful. Can use it a bunch of ways. Clip it on the hinge side to keep the door open big. You can clip it on the latch side to keep the door open small. You can use it as a triangle in the door frame against the door slab against the ground. It clips onto your radio strap, clips onto your coat. It's $2. You can lose it, doesn't matter. Easy to replace. I actually had a thing at the other station I worked at where I just bought 10 of these and I put them in a shoebox and I said, take a clamp and leave $2. And they cost $2. So when they were all gone and there was $20 there, I just went and bought 10 more clamps. They're that inexpensive and that disposable. It's a great gift and it's just so useful. Fire calls, EMS calls, holding doors open, grabbing onto stuff. One of these 2-inch spring clamps, a decent metal one, don't get the plastic ones with like the ridges and the orange tips on it. Those are useless. A decent $2 spring clamp, you could buy it. This one was from like Menards, I think. Home Depot has them. Harbor Freight has them for $1 a lot of times. This is a great gift. $2 in and out. Get everybody one. Have a couple on the rig, and you're good to go. So that's the first thing. Cheap 2-inch spring clamp, rock and roll. Okay. Easy one. Great for new guys that don't have a lot of money to spend or don't know what to get people. Don't want to do personalized stuff. Everybody can use one of those. Everybody's going to need one, or they can hand theirs off to someone that does. All right, number 2, screwdrivers, okay? And a very specific type of screwdriver. I really like these 6 or 8 or 10-in-1 screwdrivers, but the less features they have, the better, I think. This one is a Harbor Freight one. I just bought it today. At one point, I was like, you know what? I had a bunch of tools. They were all cheap. I'm going to go replace all my tools with nice stuff, like stuff I really enjoy using. And I spent some money on screwdrivers and on wrenches and all this stuff. And I ended up just buying more of these like 6-in-1, 10-in-1 screwdrivers because, dude, they just scratch the itch. They do everything you need. If you imagine, if you're listening to this thing, it's just a screwdriver with a removable sheath in the middle. And on one side is a Phillips, big Phillips and a big flat. And the other side is a small Phillips and a small flat. The sheath itself is a nut driver of one size on one side and a nut driver of one size on another side. And that is it. They sell the 10, 12, 14-in-1 ones where there's bits inside of bits. Don't get those. Okay, don't get those. There's too much to lose. If you find a 2-in-1, just a 2-function screwdriver, this is the one I used to carry, and I carry another one now in my gear. That's just Phillips on one side, flat on the other, and a handle. That's all it is. The more simple, the better. Because remember, you're not buying someone a screwdriver. You're buying someone, and let's flip this one around so you can see it. You're basically buying someone a punch, a dull knife, a pry bar, a scraper, okay? And if there happens to be a screw head that fits the Phillips side, a screwdriver, okay? A hammer, a wrench. You're buying a multi-tool with this thing. This is not a tool that you're gonna buy for the feel of it and the user experience and the enjoyment. And I love crafting with this. No, this is something you buy for literally, this was $2, $2.50 I think at Harbor Freight. And there's even cheaper ones. If you've been in Menards, you've seen the orange ones. It looks like just a stick of butter with a pointy end on it. That's a removable Phillips and slotted, right? This is a utility tool. This is to be dropped, used, bent, dented, thrown out, and replaced on a moment's notice. If you can get the more basic version, like I said, this one that's just flat on one side, Phillips on the other, even better. The one I carry now, nerd out a little bit, is actually from the toolkit from my 1988 Toyota Land Cruiser I had in high school. The thing came with a toolkit because it was a tank. And it says Toyota on the side of it, and it's just a square plastic handle. And on one side, it's a Phillips, and you flip it around. The other side, it's a flat. And I've used it for exactly all the things. A dull knife, a pry bar, a punch, a scraper, and then once in a while there's a screw. Like the inside door panel of the engine that keeps falling apart, or the back flaps of the ambulance that you need to keep screwing shut. Perfect tool. So, screwdriver's number 2. Clamp was number 1. 6-in-1, 2-in-1 screwdriver. These are perfect gifts for your crewmates. They're disposable, they're utility, they're nearly indestructible. And you're going to need one eventually. So this is a great tool to have. All right. There's actually 2 more. I think I said there was 3 categories. There's 2 more categories to go over, okay? Now this third one is a common one. It's knives, okay? But a very specific type of knife. There's one very specific type of knife you should be buying your crew. And that is the cheapest, goofiest, smallest knife that you can think of. Do not spend more than $10 on a knife. See if you can not spend more than $5 on a knife. That's the kind of knife you should be buying for crewmates. And I had one at work that one of my guys gives me. He has like a shoebox full of them. They're $2 a piece. The one at Menards he just got me was another $2.20. And it's a knife-shaped object that folds in half and has a clip on it. That's what you need as a fireman for a knife. You don't need ceramic bearings and a certain type of steel and fancy scales and all that stuff. You need a pointy-ish object that folds in half. It can stay in your pocket and you can lose. We went to the store tonight and there was 2 of these. Now this is like a mossy oak one. 2 for $7. And these are ones, if you're not watching, it's high-vis yellow, and I have another one in the car, high-vis orange. 2-pack for $7. This is exactly the type of knife you buy people for Christmas. It's steel of some sort. It's got a lock of some sort. These screws will all fall out. This clip will probably break off. And in 1 year's time, when it's time for next Christmas, I'll be ready for another one. And that's the point of this thing. Because you're not buying a knife. You're buying a screwdriver, a scraper, a punch, and all that stuff just shaped as a knife, okay? The first thing I typically do with these, quite honestly, is take off the pointy tip. Because I end up taking this more out as a pry bar and a screwdriver than any kind of cutting thing. So flatten off the tip, you got yourself a multi-tool. Guys, it's really that simple and that awesome to buy. All in now, if we do $2 for the clamp, $2.50 for the screwdriver, and $3.50 for the knife, we're in good shape. Okay, that's a probationary budget stocking stuffer gift guide right there, and we still have one thing to go. Now this last thing is a little more expensive. This is $20, and this is the flashlight I carry. I got two of them at the same time, but this is, what in my opinion, the best flashlight to carry as a fireman for a few reasons. It's small, it's metal, okay? It's got a rear button on it, which I think is very useful. It's got a pocket clip that you can get from either side, and it's removable. This whole thing just clips around the back of it here. You can take the clip off if you need to. And, well, two more things. It's bright. I think the literature says it's around 300 lumens, but if you can see, it's also focusing. So you can wide, narrow, wide, narrow. Hugely useful. This is the Coast HX5. Takes a battery, just a regular 1 AA battery, which I love. I hate the waste of using batteries. We have so many toys, kids, that take batteries. I hate them because you just feel, all I do is imagine the pile of acid and batteries that we're disposing of that's sitting in a landfill somewhere because of these kids' toys. But for my tools at work, I like batteries. If this thing runs out of battery, the last thing I want to do is go plug it in and let it charge for 2 hours and forget about it. It's wasteful, but I enjoy being able to just take the battery out and get a new one, and then it's back in action, okay? Now this one's like $20, $19.99 or so, okay? The Coast HX5, 360 to 400 lumens, I can't remember, something like that. And it's awesome, and it's indestructible. I keep it on my radio strap on one of the mic loops. You can shine something like an inspection light, very small, or you can wind it out and get basically the whole patient on the cot in the scene. It's great. Coast does make a whole line of $10 flashlights. Coast is a great company. It's an affordable company. I don't know anything else about them besides that, but if you go to Menards and you look for Coast flashlights, they'll have 3 or 4 in the under $15 range and like 2 in the under $10 range that are like inspection lights, 100 lumens with a clip, a little bit bigger, probably not the sliding focusing thing, but it's going to last you forever. I would stay above 100 lumens if you're going to look for a light. Those little like Walmart ones that take the 3 AAA batteries and they don't have any, it's just like a big roll of quarters. Those are a little bit less than 100 lumens, and it's just not that useful when you're actually wanting to use it. It's great for like checking pupils and looking for something tiny under a desk, but for actually using on scene, 100 lumens or more for sure. And then the more the better, but small, okay? And I know I'm droning on about a flashlight, but small. When I have this on my radio strap and it's on my sternum basically, I don't want to notice it when I put my gear or my air pack on. Guys walk around with these enormous flashlights, like mag light size, and they have them clipped on the radio strap. I mean, it's got to be uncomfortable. It's got to get in the way, right? This thing, the Coast HX5, is a little more money, $20. Maybe buy it for yourself and buy your crew the cheap ones. But this is the smallest, most durable flashlight I found. And it's one of those things where I want to buy another one. I want to buy a different flashlight to see what else is out there, but this thing just works. I've used rechargeable ones. I've used other longer like inspection lights, and I keep going back to this one. So if you're promoted, if you're a captain, if you're a lieutenant, maybe you're a battalion chief, and $20 per guy isn't out of the realm of possibility, maybe this little guy is right in your wheelhouse. This is a little bit of an outlier though, okay? I would definitely find $10. $10 for a flashlight. Coast carries a bunch of them, like I said. I feel like I have to do the obligatory thing where it's like, I don't have connections with any of these companies. I mean, Harbor Freight, you think Harbor Freight sponsors me in Mossy Oak for this thing in Coast? They don't even know I'm alive. A non-marked spring clamp and this screwdriver from 1980. Don't worry, there's no conflict of interest here with the stuff I'm telling you guys. But these are things that I buy. I've bought these gifts in some form, some combination of these gifts. Usually it's a clamp and a screwdriver. I bought this combination of gifts, I would say at least 10 or 11 out of 16 years of the department I'm at now, because they're just good. They're just good. If it's not the clamp, because those did come around 4 or 5 years ago, kind of came hot in the scene, it would probably be screwdriver flashlight, right? It's just that easy. Don't freak out. You don't have to spend a ton of money on your crew. Get them stuff that if they don't use it, you don't feel like you wasted money on them, and they don't feel bad for not using it. I might give this knife to a knife guy, and he might be like, well, I already carry a multi-tool that I like. I'm not really going to carry this. For $3.50, I don't care if he throws it in the river, right? But I got him something, and if he wants to use it, it's there, or he can give it to his kids. It's all good, okay? balance that line, have fun, have a great Christmas, guys. If you have any questions or anything to add, I mean, I'm pretty set on this list. If you got something to add that's in the same range, $10 or less, utility, useful, frequent user kind of thing. I've got some good answers on Instagram that I put up there. Pens, notepads, water bottles, absolutely. All that stuff, right? I'm a big fan of utility. Terrible gift giver because I always think utility first and usefulness first, and none of like the fun frill stuff even reaching my radar. I'm like, well, wouldn't you rather have a screwdriver? Like, this seems way more useful than whatever thing you want. All right, guys, thanks for hanging out. Thanks for checking it out. Hope you liked it. Happy holidays. Merry Christmas. Next week, replay episode because it's right next to Christmas. And then after that, we'll be back. Okay. Happy episode 200. That's today. Thank you. Thank you for coming on this ride with me on this journey and learning and growing and discovering and tolerating everything that I'm trying out here. And I'm excited. We got a new show coming out on Firefighter Nation with Angie called Beyond the Headlines. We're trying to get that launched for January. We just did our first interview yesterday with Roy Smalley. And then last week, I posted Angie and I's introduction to that show episode where we got into it a little bit. And I think we're going to be in a good spot. It's going to be a good year. Fingers crossed. And if you said that last year and it turned out to be just like this year, just say it again. Eventually, we got to crack one through, right? All right, guys, thanks for hanging out. Talk to you soon. Keep on working on being more capable and durable on the job and away from it. And be a force firefighter. Bye-bye.